Okay, so this is the sudden and for absolutely no reason live stream media grab number two. Welcome to An American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf. Happy New Year to everyone, first of all. I'm wishing you all a safe, healthy, and prosperous 2023. 2 days into it, 363 more after this, and I hope it's a great one. Is this a leap year? Is this a leap year? It might be. So maybe it's 365 left to go. I happen to have the day off today, so I had to help my dad with a few things, and while I was over there giving him a hand, I looked at a couple of more of his DVDs, and I said, do you mind if I take a couple of these? And he's like, yeah, get them the hell out of here. I keep telling you to take all of them. I don't want the damn things, because he refuses to watch anything. You buy him Blu-rays and Blu-ray players and DVDs and box sets, and yeah, he just won't watch any of them. So they've been sitting over there for eons collecting dust, and maybe one of these days I'll be so unconscionable as to just take them all completely. But right now, my conscience is only working in pieces as I pilfer from him. And I thought I'd make a bit of a video to talk about what I got. So here we go. All right, the first movie I got, and this is the only John Carpenter movie that I actually saw in the theater. I got John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. And you've got, I believe it was Natasha Henstridge and Ice Cube. And you've got Pam Grier. And unfortunately, Jason Statham is in this. And the only movie I've ever really enjoyed Jason Statham in was Guy Ritchie's Snatch. And then there's Clea Duvall. And I enjoyed Clea Duvall from back in the day with, what was that movie? Carnival, which you can see right here. I love me some Carnival with Nick Stahl, and she was great in that. And I had always hoped that she would become a big star, but it didn't happen. And such is life. Okay. So, I'm just going to add this to the pile. It's not a movie I'm going to put in heavy rotation, but I know it's going to serve absolutely no purpose over at my dad's place. Okay, the second movie, The Western. The Western is a struggling genre of film nowadays, and it's being kept alive by Taylor Sheridan, people like Kevin Costner, who are storing in this They've got this series Yellowstone that's branched off into other series, Yellowstone with Sam. Why can't I think of his name? One of them's got Harrison Ford in it now. Not Sam Neill. The guy with the mustache. I can't think of it. Hey, Eric, what's up, man? Eric here. Yeah, everything's going well, brother. I just decided to do this improv stream for some reason. I picked up some DVDs, some more DVDs from my pop's place. Oh God, what's the guy name? The guy's name from. Hold on, now I'm actually going to Google it. Yellowstone, 1883, I think it is. What is his name? Sam Elliott. It's Sam Elliott. So. Oh, okay. I'll come back to it. Hold on. I'm talking to Eric here, and he's saying, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. And then I missed your first movie being shown off. What was it? Don't laugh. It's John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. For some reason, I don't know. I think it was my mother was the horror fan. So mom passed away a number of years ago. And so I showed her this. Mom was the one who got me started with the Universal Classics and then moved me up to Hammer. And then, together we would get through movies like Ridley Scott's Alien and, so on and so forth. So I must have bought this for her. But Mom's been gone for a number of years. And like I was saying at the very beginning of the video, I went over to help my dad with something today, and I saw a couple more videos. I'm like, can I grab those? He says it's the only Ghost. He hasn't seen it since the theaters. This is the only John Carpenter movie I've ever actually seen in the theater until this past year, when Ryan and I went to go see the 40th anniversary of The Thing. And then I saw it on the big screen, and it's fantastic. Yeah, it's over the top, and it's fun. And you've got Ice Cube and Natasha Henstridge and Pam Grier and Clea Duvall and Jason Statham, and it's crazy. Hey, the Goraphobe is here. Hey, what's up, man? Just chilling. Just chilling. What are you guys doing? Do you wanna come in? Hold on. I'll put the link in the. Hold on. Can I? Yeah, I'll put it in the stream. Hold on. If you guys just want to pop in, come on in. I'm just hanging out. I'm doing an improv hangout stream, shooting the shit. So just something to do to pass a little bit of time. I don't see it being like some 4-hour thing, but if you want to pop in, go right ahead. So the second movie I got was, what was it? Oh, I was talking about the Western. And the Western being the struggling genre, Taylor Sheridan doing movies like Hell or High Water, a couple of others, now writing these stories for Yellowstone, which has turned into Yellowstone 1883 with Sam Elliott, now 1923, I think, with Harrison Ford. So, yeah, all right. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, we'll hook it up soon. Happy New Year to you, brother. Hope you have a great year. And we'll chat soon. Come in at the end of the month, definitely, for the 2-year show. But every once in a while, you'll get a film that does the old school Western justice, and that's why I grabbed Appaloosa with Viggo Mortensen, Ed Harris, Renee Zellweger, and Jeremy Irons. And Jeremy Irons always plays a great jerk, and he's the villain in this. But yeah, this is a fantastic movie. Really, really solid. Obviously, it's got a solid cast. I haven't seen it in a very long time, and so I'm looking forward to it myself. I'm going to get back into this. Okay, the third movie that is on my list. Yeah, Happy New Year to you too, man. Thomas Jane's The Punisher. I actually introduced my own mom to The Punisher. This was, I don't know if she ever made it to the ones with John Barenthal. But this one is a fun one with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. Will Patton is in it. Ben Foster. It's a fantastic film. Kevin Nash is in it. He plays the Russian. It's just a really, really good movie. And you saw the potential of where the Punisher could go. This was there was the first movie with Dolph Lundgren, and I wasn't necessarily a fan of that. Yeah, with the added Iraqi scenes, where you can see that, the animated Iraqi scenes, the stills, where you can see what he was sort of, he was sort of at a crossroads with things. Later on, they came up with another great one with Ray Stevenson called Punisher Warzone. And I thought that Ray Stevenson was a fantastic Punisher. It was a terrible story, though. It was a terrible story. You had Dominic West as Jigsaw, but you saw that they were amping up the violence. And his interpretation of Frank Castle was fantastic. And we had hoped. And then we saw from San Diego Comic-Con the Thomas Jane short film Dirty Laundry, where they were really starting to catch on to what was possible. This was sort of at the beginning or midway through the MCU. And then finally, we had hope, because I was a Thomas Jane fan, and then I saw what Ray Stevenson did. And so I was like, well, let's make Ray Stevenson the Punisher regularly now. Let's get another film. It didn't happen. Then I saw what they were going to do with Thomas Jane in Dirty Laundry, and that had Ron Perlman in it. And I was like, wow, Jane could pull this off. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Let's go back to Thomas Jane. And then they cast John Barenthal. And John Barenthal, with the luck of a fantastic script in the Daredevil series, just got it perfect. He got it perfect. It's not his fault. He's a little, he's a little short for the guy. The Punisher is about Ray Stevenson's height, about a 6'4" guy, but he was just spot on. He was spot on, and he got 2 great seasons in his own series for Marvel. This was before Marvel Studios, when they had Marvel Television, and Marvel Television was giving us Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage. They gave us The Defenders. Great casting, great stories. Even the ones that weren't the best, like, say, season 2 of Iron Fist, are way better than anything that they're doing with Disney now. I miss those. And because they're Marvel properties, there's no release for those in physical media. So, you're stuck and you're at the mercy of the digital libraries after they transfer them from Netflix over to Disney Plus. I'd much rather have my own copies, but that's not up to me. Yeah, I love The Punisher, and that extended version is really good with the added scenes. Absolutely. I haven't seen this in a very long time. I could be persuaded to watch it. It wouldn't be a problem. And the Iraq stuff is a deleted alternate opening. Yeah, still have scenes. They still have scenes added into the film that are really good. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Okay, that's the third movie. There's a little pile here. Okay, the next movie that I've got is one of the all-time great Westerns that, of course, my dad absolutely refuses to watch because, he's at that age now where he just watches, the same 3 or 5 or 6 things, pretty much every day, unless it's, baseball season or football season or something like that. I got The Magnificent Seven. And The Magnificent Seven with Yul Brynner, Eli Wallach, Steve McQueen, one of the great all-time films, not just one of the great all-time Westerns, but one of the great all-time films, a Western interpretation of Kurosawa's classic, The Seven Samurai, which is probably one of the greatest films of all time in the original. And as much as people love to talk about The Magnificent Seven, The Seven Samurai is a superior film. I don't think anybody really argues that. I actually had Ryan over one time because he's a huge Magnificent Seven fan. I'm a fan of this, but I'm a fanatic of Kurosawa and The Seven Samurai. And we sat down and we watched it. And yeah, he couldn't dispute that it was the better film. Hold on, who directed this? Walter Mirisch. No, is it Walter Mirisch? Screenplay, music, executive producer, film. I don't know who the director is. Eli Wallach, Charles Bronson, Robert Vaughn, Brad Dexter, James Coburn. Directed by Elmer Bernstein. Is that what it says? John Sturges. I think it's John Sturges. I don't know. I don't know who directed it, but it's a damn solid film of a group of ragtag cowboys who are recruited by an extremely poor village to help defend them from bandits who are basically stealing everything that they have that isn't nailed down, and even the things that are nailed down because they can. And it's a fantastic story. So I'm glad to have that in my collection. I'm keeping this horror and sci-fi over here in my living room. I'm keeping things that fall more under different genres of film. And so a lot of these will go in the other room. Ghosts of Mars will stay here. That'll be fine. The next film that I have here is Antoine Fuqua's Training Day. And this is just a fantastic film. You can tell Denzel's got his kufi on tight for this one as he plays just an evil, evil bastard and a corrupt cop who takes Ethan Hawke in as his partner for a one-day sort of test drive to see what he's about and whether or not he can be a part of this small unit of the police department that is corrupt in its entirety. It's a fantastic film. Denzel Washington won the Academy Award for this, and it is well-deserved. I'm always a huge Denzel fan, and I'm always a huge Ethan Hawke fan. Scott Glenn is in this. Who else? Tom Berenger is in this. There's just a laundry list of great people that are in this. I'm glad to have it here in the collection. It'll definitely be going in the other room. And it falls under the under the genre. I think it just falls under cinema. They also made a television series out of it and had Bill Paxton as the corrupt cop. And I believe that was his last performance. And then suddenly, the great Bill Paxton passed away. But they had made a television series, I think, for CBS, and it made it through one season. I don't know if it was renewed for a second, but he ended up passing away before they had a chance to go on any further with it. I never got a chance to see it. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to it. Yeah, it's damn good. It still is damn good. Okay, I just found something. Oh God, I forgot this was in the pile. This was one of the films that my mother got me started on when it came to horror. And of course, when we talk about Universal, we talk about Hammer. But one of the people that I personally never talk about, and I'm remiss as fuck for this, is Vincent Price. And this was one of the movies that they told me about all the time. And I think they went to see it in the theaters, back then when this was like top level scares. I'm talking about Vincent Price in The Tingler. Oh, Jesus Christ. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a movie about this body part that's removed from you or something like that when you experience fear and it gets loose and it runs throughout neighborhoods or something, and then actually like appears in a movie theater up against the projection screen. So it starts projecting onto I haven't seen this in forever, but I bought it for her, and it was I was just like, yeah, I sort of remember watching it. I'll buy it for you. I don't see myself sitting down with you to watch it, but now it's mine again. Vincent Price in The Tingler. Don't cover nearly enough Vincent Price. My opinion of Price was that it almost sort of fell along. He really got into the over-the-top stuff. Vincent Price he's a true master of horror. Don't misunderstand me, but that particular shade of horror that he got into fell a little along the campy side of things. At least that's my interpretation. I'm going to have to give him another look sometime soon. I remember most recently I saw a movie that he did called Tower of London, where he plays Richard III, and it's just so over the top. I can't tell if it's unintentionally funny or if they're sort of shooting for the horror comedy, purview. And so maybe that's, one of his claims to fame is that, he's one of the originators of the horror comedy. I think probably looking at this now, I'm going to actually give this a look, because I need to know some more about Price. I need to familiarize myself a little bit more about him. And this seems like a good place to start. And I'm sure there are tons of Vincent Price movies, either on YouTube or on the streaming services that, I probably just have blown off. I'm going to have to get to them. Hold on a second. Eric says, The Tingler would have been fun to see originally in the theaters because they made it interactive. I think my parents did go to see that in the theater, but I don't remember too many of the stories. I doubt my dad will remember it now. There's one particular movie. William Castle was good with that interactive theater gimmick. Yeah, I seem to recall it like crawling across the projector, so it like hit the white screen and like this nasty looking thing was like crawling across that was kind of cool for the time. All right, let's move on to the next one, and I've got another Western. Okay, and this is one of the all-time great Westerns. Again, I'm talking about Silverado. You've got Danny Glover, you got Kevin Kline, you've got Kevin Costner, you've got Scott Glenn, you've got Jeff Goldblum. Everybody, Brian Dennehy is in this. John Cleese. Just everybody and their mother is in this. And it's just like it's sort of a salute and an homage to the classic Western. It's got all the tropes. It's a Kasdan film. They do it absolutely right. Brian Dennehy is great as the corrupt sheriff, who's kind of a killer. And I wouldn't think to put Kevin Kline in a Western. Like that's the last place I would like. That's the last person I would think to cast in a Western. but proving that he's more than, just sort of a comedy drama kind of actor, which this sort of is. He actually does a really good job in this. It's a lot of fun. I haven't watched it in a very long time, and it's probably one of those great lay on the couch on a Sunday afternoon kind of watches. Yeah, maybe in the springtime or something when the weather's fine and the windows are open and the nice breeze is blowing. This will be a good watch on a Sunday. Okay, what else? Okay, this works too. Okay, I've got Mel Gibson, and I don't own nearly enough Mel Gibson content. I've got the 2 Lethal Weapons because Walk the Cinema was having a DVD Blu-ray sale. So they put up all these pictures, and, they were big stacks. So it was, photo of like this. So you had to like expand the photo and look at all the titles. And I immediately grabbed the Lethal Weapon 1 and 2. I think I've got Payback, the director's cut, the Helgeland cut of Payback, which is fantastic to watch. We were going to do that for the Summer of Crime, and we ended up viewing it, but never got around to doing the show. I've got The Passion of the Christ, which is probably his greatest movie. I don't have Hacksaw Ridge or anything like that. There's probably another 1 or 2 that I've got that I'm not talking of, that I can't think of off the top of my head. Braveheart, I've got Braveheart. But what I've got right here is The Patriot. And The Patriot is sort of a Braveheart kind of movie. It came back. I think this movie gets sort of overlooked because it came right on the heels of The Patriot, and it could have come across as kind of like, The Patriot in America fighting for, a Braveheart in America fighting for freedom, that kind of thing with the long-suffering character. And Mel Gibson always plays a long-suffering character. But this is just a great movie. It's got Jason London as the villain, and Jason London is just one of the great character actors of our time, extremely underrated. Let's see, we've got Heath Ledger. That's right, Heath Ledger plays his son. You've got a number of different really good actors in this. Hold on a second. We've got Tom Wilkinson. I think he plays Cornwallis. Jason Isaacs. That's it. Not Jason London. Jason Isaacs. You got Chris Cooper. You've got a really solid cast. This is a really solid action film. Not necessarily the most intelligent, like historically accurate, War of Independence film that you've ever seen, but it's a good one to watch. Not exactly what I would call fun, but it's a good movie. And Eric says, "My dad loved The Patriot." Yeah, it's a good film. I'm glad to have it back with me again. Okay, speaking of separating the artist from the art, as we just did with Gibson, I'm going to talk about some Roman Polanski right now. And The Pianist, with Adrian Brody. Polanski is just a great fucking filmmaker. There's no two ways about it. And this is just a fantastic film. And I had just watched on Pluto TV. I don't know what my inspiration was for watching it. I can't remember now. It just happened a few weeks ago, but I can't remember what prompted me to dig it up. Judgment at Nuremberg, which is the story of the main justice in the Nuremberg trials going over to Germany in 1947 or 48 to try the leftover people who had not either been hung or who hadn't been, out and out killed, and to hold them sort of responsible. And in this particular instance of the Nuremberg trials, because I don't know a great deal about them, they were basically trying other judges who had knowingly interpreted law in such a way that led to murder, mass murder, and genocide, that had knowingly sort of put their consciences away and did the wrong thing knowingly, to the detriment of millions of people. And it was 3 hours that went by like an hour. And it's just such an important film. I ended up, I think before I even finished it, I had gone on to Amazon and found a used copy on DVD, and now I own it. I think that encouraged me to find a used copy of Schindler's List. These aren't movies that you watch very often because they're tough movies to watch, but that kept me in that frame of mind. And when I saw this at Dad's place, again, another grab with the great Adrian Brody. I thought this was a fantastic fantastic film. I think it's Spielman, his name is, and he's a famous concert pianist who lives in Warsaw during the occupation. It's not a Auschwitz type of film or anything like that. This man basically lived in hiding for years. And there are just some things that I recently had a Twitter conversation with somebody about one of the particular scenes, which is the last time he sees his family before they're loaded onto this train. And this man who's his friend, who he had called a traitor because he became part of the Jewish police force for the Nazis, I guess in an attempt to stay alive a little bit longer, grabs him out of the line and just starts beating him for this, what seems like amusement, but what he's actually doing is trying to pull him out of the line of the people that are getting onto the trains to go to the camps. And he pulls him out of the line and gives him a couple of smacks, and he throws him down on the ground. And then he, like, whispers to him, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, run now, like, go, just go. And the guy runs, and he gets separated from his mother and his father and his sister. And he never sees them again. They realize that, or at least his father realizes that, he's been pulled out of the line, and like his father, like, waves to him. And it's just like this heartbreaking scene because you realize he never sees his family again. That's the last time he saw him, when they were getting loaded onto the train. And like God, just must have acted through this man to randomly pull him out of the line. It's a fantastic movie. It won 3 Academy Awards. Director, Polanski. Best actor was Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody never got a lot of A-list kind of movies after this. I'm not sure why that is. He's done a lot of great character work. Personally, I think his Predators is the second best movie in that franchise. Not necessarily because of him, but because it had a much better ensemble cast. It was probably most like the source for the inspiration for the original Predator, which is the book, The Most Dangerous Game. And it had just such great people, Walton Goggins and Danny Trejo, and, all these different folks. Topher Grace was in it. I liked it a lot better than Predators. But you should never discount Adrian Brody. He actually is a great actor. I'm not sure that he's a great action star, but Predators. It's good. You can sometimes overlook historical inaccuracies if the movie is good. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Video Tasties is here. What's up, man? Thanks for stopping in. Just randomly decided to do a stream. I'm not going to stay on here for very long, but share my media grab. Thanks to my daddy. And he said, Eric says, I like Brody in Predators, and he was good in Spike Lee's Summer of Sam. Was he in Summer of Sam? I don't remember that. For some reason, all I remember is John Leguizamo, and I think Mira Sorvino's in that. That was a weird movie. I don't remember it very well, but he was in it, and okay, all right. I'll have to take a look. He was great in if you don't watch, it's on Netflix. Peaky Blinders. He plays an American gangster who moves over into Birmingham for a short period of time, trying to do some business. He's a villain. He's a good villain. He does a fantastic job in it. Okay, final movie on the list sort of falls. Hold on, Eric says he had the I actually went to the theaters to see Summer of Sam. I don't remember anything about it. I remember a bad dance scene in a nightclub with. He was one of the guys in the Mohawk with a Mohawk. Because I seem to remember at the end somebody got beat up because they thought it was the son of Sam. And maybe that was him. Maybe he was the one who got beat up because he had a mohawk. And I remember the Who's "We Won't Be Fooled Again," going off in the background. But okay, I'll have to check it out. Well, maybe I'll get around to it one of these days. I don't know. I'm sort of hit or miss with Spike Lee films. I just actually got a Spike Lee film. I ordered it, Inside Man, with Denzel Washington. That's one of my favorite Spike Lee films, with Denzel and Clive Owen, Willem Dafoe, Jodie Foster, Christopher Plummer. It's a robbery movie. The race movies that Spike Lee does, I don't. Yeah, that's a bit much for me because usually any conversation about race makes me want to stick my head in an oven. I did think that Malcolm X was a perfect film, but it's just so fucking depressing. It's very hard to get into. Inside Man is great. It is great. I literally got a used Blu-ray off Amazon for a couple of bucks. Still good stuff. Malcolm X is a perfect film, but it's so fucking depressing. I like 25th Hour with Edward Norton and Rosario Dawson. That was really good. Anna Paquin's in it, Philip Seymour Hoffman. The non-racial stuff that he does, I'm a fan. And even the stuff that is racial, they're good films. It's just, you're like, it just makes you want to stick your head in a vice. All right, so that brings me to the final film here in my pile, my new addition to my my movie collection, my new additions, my new DVDs, and that is the Coen Brothers. And I'm not a Coen Brothers fan. I think the only Coen Brothers movie that I actually own is No Country for Old Men, and that's because it's not your typical Coen Brothers film, which is kind of the campy comedy, intelligent campy comedy, though. It's not, some raunch fest. But this one I actually love a great deal. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? And you've got George Clooney, and you've got John Turturro, and I never remember his name, John Goodman. That's not the name I can't remember. The third guy here whose name I can never remember. And Tim Blake Nelson. He was just in that Cabinet of Curiosities, Lot 47 episode that I did. And this is just a really, really funny comedy about three guys who escape off a chain gang. And they're trying to get back home. George Clooney's trying to get back to his wife, who's about to, hook up with another guy. Hold on a second. Video Tasty says, great. It's a fantastic soundtrack. So many good people. Gillian Welch, I remember, but a couple of others. Just good stuff. And Eric says, I prefer the fun comedies from them. This is definitely a fun comedy. It's loosely based on Homer's The Odyssey, in Odysseus's 20-year return from the Trojan War. After the war ends, he's trying to return back to his wife, Penelope, and he gets the gods. I think the gods punish him for like all the sort of evil things that he did and mischievous things and all the deceits that he committed during the war. And it takes him 20 years to get back home. And so this is loosely based on that, but it's a lot of fun. I love the Tommy character, the black guy who's sort of modeled after Robert Johnson, the famous blues guitarist who sells his soul at the crossroads for guitar lessons. It's just a fun movie. So that's the list. Here we are in the second day of 2023. I'm trying to think, what's coming out in 2023. We got the new John Wick. We got Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. A few things here and there. The new Equalizer film is coming out. I'm a fan of the first one. Really a fan of the first one. The second one was pretty good. Again, it's Denzel Washington, so what's not to like? It's just, it should be a halfway decent year for film. I'm not looking forward to huge blockbusters that I can think of off the top of my head. As a YouTuber who covers film. In terms of horror, I just saw a really interesting trailer that I'm going to be talking about called Blood. And it looks like a twist on some sort of vampire story. And it's got Michelle Monaghan from True Detective season 1. It's a pretty fucking good film, or it looks pretty fucking good. Let's see. Hold on. Eric says, "Oh, Brother" is a Southern take on the Greek tale, The Odyssey. Yes, it is. John Goodman represents a Cyclops. That's right. Yeah, he's a Cyclops in the Ku Klux Klan. Though. I thought that was great that they fucking turned that over, and complete with an eye patch. Yeah, that's great. When they do that with Homer Stokes, don't let that flag touch the ground. And Charles Durning is Pappy O'Daniel. Because it's about, I think it's in Mississippi. It takes place in Mississippi, and I think Prohibition. So it's like early 20th century in Mississippi. So the whole place is just racist as fuck, and nobody's drinking, and so it's like corrupt politicians, and yeah. Is J.K. Simmons in this? Somebody plays the guy who's running the Bloodhounds, who's hunting for them. I can't remember, but yeah, it's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good movie. All right, that's it for this particular video. My thanks to Video Tasties for stopping in, and for the Agoraphobe for stopping in, and for Eric. I just happen to be doing this, and I'll be making some more of these as my conscience slowly erodes and I pilfer more of my aging father's video collection. Because, like I said, every time I take one, he yells at me because he's like, "Why the fuck don't you take all of them? Jesus Christ, I've been telling you for years, I don't watch them. They're just gathering dust over here." But a lot of them are films that I just I wouldn't own anyway. But who knows? Maybe I'll get around to it one of these days. I think I even pilfered. Yeah, I finally got around to pilfering the prequel trilogy from Star Wars. So clearly my conscience isn't that fucking clear. Yeah, cheers, man. Cheers. And yeah, it's not a bad haul. It's not a bad haul. I could have done a lot worse. I'm going to be redoing a few videos. There's a couple videos that I dropped, and they got hit with copyright complaints, and so I've lodged disputes. But what happens, when by the time you lodge the dispute, a lot of them they just play for time, and so it times out the dispute. And then after 30 days, if you don't get a reply, they drop it. But by then, your video has been taken out of the algorithm. By then it's too late. So there are a couple of videos I'm going to redo this week, and I'm going to be doing a couple movie reviews. I think I'm going to do one on that movie that I saw, The Invitation. I want to talk about that, maybe in a little bit of depth. And then there's also, I want to do a video on a film that I just got a Blu-ray for. It's an M. Night Shyamalan production. I don't think he directs it, but it's called Devil. And I love Devil. It's a great story about 5 people or so that are trapped in an elevator in Philadelphia. So I think John was part of, maybe he was just in the know on this, so to speak. And he said it was a lot of local casting. So there's no real big stars in this. Bokeem Woodbine is in it, and it's about people that are trapped in an elevator in Philadelphia in this office building. And one of them is the devil. And so the story is that every once in a while, the devil, just to amuse himself, will actually come up and grab some souls himself. So that's just a really fun movie. And I think I'm going to cover that this week. So, yeah, Devil is so good. And it's never streaming. It's never streaming. So I got it on Blu-ray, and I think I'm going to make a video about that, then The Invitation, and then a redo of one of the videos that I've done that's been hit with a copyright claim. It's buried the numbers on it. So I'm going to be busy, and I'm probably going to be working on some of that today. So my thanks to Video Tasties, to Eric from Hey Internet, Eric here, and from the Agoraphobe for stopping by. There won't be any live streams this week unless I decide to steal more from my dad, from my poor aging father, who's going to be 85 this year. Yeah, there'll be lots of content this week. I hope everybody has a great first week in 2023. Every day something is possible. Every day's a chance. All the very best to everybody, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.